Hey everyone, how's it going? I know what you're thinking. Jaros, what the heck is wrong with you? Why would you even attempt something so dumb? How do you even attempt this? I can't answer that first question. But as for that second question, well, we got a whole video ahead of us. And the first thing I should probably do is explain what exactly we're doing here. There is a mod of Pokemon Blue that does not allow you to gain any experience points. Small Ant has made a video on this. There are others who've done this on Twitch. But, of course I'm me, and I had to take it a step further. I wanted to know if I just used level 5 Pokemon, could I beat the Elite Four? The question you might have now is, where do I get these level 5 Pokemon? The answer is Gold and Silver, or Crystal. In Gold and Silver, you can breed Pokemon which hatch at level 5. Because of the massive level difference, their stats are pretty irrelevant. All that matters is the team synergy and the movesets I'm going to pick. Additionally, I'm only going to use legal movesets. I'm not going to use any kind of editor to create a moveset that you would not be able to get in a real game. Now, this is not something I just thought of in 30 seconds. I've been thinking about this for years. I mean, I do solo runs. We beat the game with really silly Pokemon at levels far lower than you'd expect. For years, I wanted to know the absolute lowest level I could use and defeat the Elite Four. And because it's easy to hatch eggs at level 5, it seemed like the most logical place to start. With that said, let's get right into the video and talk about the team I picked. I spent a really long time designing this team and coming up with movesets that I thought would work versus the Elite Four. The first Pokemon I picked was Ghastly. Ghastly has a bunch of things about it that make it very good for this challenge. First off, it's a poison type, which will come in super handy in just a second. In addition, Ghastly learns a sleep move, Hypnosis. While in Red and Blue it takes it a while to learn, in Gold and Silver it hatches with both Hypnosis and Lick. The final two moves I picked were Toxic and Substitute, and I thought this was a pretty solid set. The next Pokemon that was a linchpin is Lapras. Like Ghastly, if hatched from Gold and Silver, Lapras comes with Sing. In addition, there is a TM I never ever use in Red and Blue that you can buy from the Game Corner, TM23 Dragon Rage. If I'm using level 5 Pokemon, dealing 40 damage, which is what Dragon Rage does, that's going to be pretty difficult. Having a move that just does that automatically, super great. Seismic Toss, that'll only deal 5 damage. Dragon Rage is the way to go. In addition, I gave Lapras Substitute and Mimic, but I didn't really know if I would use Mimic, but hey, I have it. The next Pokemon I got was Dratini. I needed Pokemon that used Dragon Rage, and Dratini not only gets Dragon Rage, but as an egg move in Generation 2, you can get Supersonic so long as you use a Mantine as the father. I decided to keep Leer to synergize with Supersonic, and finally, I gave it Substitute as well. Arcanine was my next Pokemon because you can just use a Firestone and get an Arcanine, so why not? Dragon Rage, Substitute, Mimic, which unfortunately you either need to use a duplication glitch or get from a different save file, and finally Body Slam. I also decided to use Tangela. Tangela hatches with Sleep Powder, so that's pretty useful. It also can get Confusion as an egg move from Execute. It's very hard to get confusing moves at level 5, so that was kind of nice. I also taught it Substitute and Toxic. Substitute, like Dragon Rage, can be bought from the Game Corner, so it's relatively easy to get multiple copies of it. Finally, I picked Charmander as my starter. Charmander can also learn Dragon Rage, and I gave it Body Slam and Swords Dance. Didn't anticipate using those, but that is the team of 6 I plan on defeating the Elite Four with. I did not use this team to beat the rest of the game. Maybe I will, but this team was specifically picked for the Elite Four. And without further ado, let's talk about my first battle with Lorelee. So Lorelee leads off with Dugong. The Dugong knows Growl, Takedown, Rest, and Aurora Beam. So in Generation 1, we've talked about what's called good AI. Good AI is what makes this entire challenge possible. Lorelee's Dugong can only use Rest if I send out Ghastly first. Why? The reason is Rest is classified as a psychic move, and Ghastly is poison type. So the AI thinks, I better use that. That's a good move. Of course, it doesn't actually do anything, but the game's AI is too rudimentary to know that. It will spam rest infinitely, which also creates a problem. If it's just going to use rest, how the heck are we going to beat it? Simple. We're going to try and hit it with a hypnosis first. In Generation 1, sleep is insanely overpowered. It can last anywhere between 1, meaning it just wakes up immediately, and 7 turns. Additionally, unlike in Gen 2 and beyond, Pokemon cannot attack the turn they wake up. So it's really more like between 2 and 8. That's crazy. Now, knocking out the Dugong wasn't too big a deal. I could theoretically have switched to any Pokemon with Dragon Rage, and Dugong's HP is exactly 169 points, meaning I need 5 Dragon Rages in theory to knock it out. Lorelei also has a chance to use a Super Potion, which would mean more Dragon Rages. But the truth is, the concern right now isn't Dugong, but rather the next Pokemon, Cloyster. You see, Cloyster isn't as easy to manipulate as Dugong is, since it doesn't have a move like Rest to exploit. Its moveset is Clamp, Aurora Beam, Supersonic, and Spike Cannon. Now, just like good AI prefers super effective moves, it also will refuse to use not very effective moves unless it has to. Thankfully, Lapras resists both Aurora Beam and Clamp, and thus we can use Lapras to knock out Dugong, and if we set up a substitute, hopefully get that extra turn to use Sing to put Cloyster to sleep and knock it out too. The RNG needed to do this is not great. It takes a lot of turns to knock out the Dugong, and at any point it can wake up and use Rest. Thankfully, it can do other things. It can also use Growl or Takedown, both of which are fine. If it does, we can use Sing. Unfortunately, Sing has a pretty horrific 55 accuracy, so it is essentially a coin flip whether a given Sing will actually land. This is a bigger deal versus the Cloyster, since Cloyster has a 1 in 2 chance of using Spike Cannon. Thankfully, unlike later generations, Spike Cannon will knock out the substitute and then stop working. It will not continue to hit me afterwards. I did not know that going in, and that made Cloyster a little bit easier. After we knock out Cloyster, the next Pokemon we have to deal with is Slowbro. Slowbro is very easy. It knows Amnesia. We can swap in our Ghastly, use Toxic, and just wait for Slowbro to use Amnesia until it faints. It forgot to do anything. We want to set up a substitute for Jinx. Like Cloyster, Jinx is harder to manipulate because it doesn't know anything super great. It knows Ice Punch, Double Slap, Body Slam, and Thrash. Ideally, we put the Jinx to sleep. However, there's also the chance it can use Thrash against one of my Pokemon I can use as fodder. I can swap in Ghastly, and unlike later generations, Thrash will keep on going until it's run out of turns, meaning I have many turns to use a Hypnosis, hopefully getting Jinx to sleep. The biggest problem I had was after all that came Lapras, and I didn't actually know what to do versus Lapras. Hydro Pump, Blizzard, Body Slam, Confuse Ray. At first, I thought I'd have to do the same thing I did with Cloyster, keep my Lapras alive, and hope for a 1 in 2 chance of it using Confuse Ray. But then something pretty amazing happened. In one battle, I saved Ghastly till the end, and remembered that Confuse Ray is not a normal move, but in fact has always been a ghost move. And Lapras will in fact spam Confuse Ray, since it is a ghost move, against Ghastly. I don't know why this never occurred to me. I've done a Ghastly and Gengar run, and yet this is the first I'm realizing this. Unfortunately, that battle resulted in a loss. But after many grueling tries, I was able to get all the RNG to line up. I was able to land the Hypnosis right away and swap into Lapras. Unfortunately, the Dugong woke up too quickly, and I had to resort to Sing. Thankfully, it didn't knock me out, and ideally, I would have bought some HP ups to give me one more substitute. It's fine right now, and I just have to spam Dragon Rage, hoping the Dugong faints. If Loralee were to use a super potion, which she didn't, I have used one of the 5 PowerPoint ups I've acquired. I have the rest in my bag because I don't know when I'm going to need them, and it's a very, very useful item. Cloyster goes for Supersonic, which as far as I'm aware, actually cannot go through a substitute. So that's pretty cool. I go for Sing, and we basically got a 1 in 4 chance of it going for Supersonic and me going for Sing and it hitting. Unfortunately, Cloyster wakes up right away. I'm able to get off one Dragon Rage, but I have to put it back to sleep. It goes for Spike Cannon, which as we mentioned, will not do more damage than the substitute, and I am able to get it back to sleep. Maybe I should have just started spamming Dragon Rage. I opt for the substitute just in case, but this is the last one I'm able to use this battle. Of course, once again, Cloyster wakes up very quickly, and that's really bad because Cloyster also requires 5 Dragon Rages. And you can see it's almost knocked out, but there's no chance for a critical hit or anything like that. It all comes down to this. Supersonic, that's pretty good. And we're able to knock out Cloyster. Now, the funny thing about Generation 1 that's actually going to work out in our favor is that the AI takes into account what you have decided before it makes its move. So I decide to switch to Ghastly, meaning Slowbro has to go for Amnesia, even though we started with Lapras. Not very fair, but hey, we're exploiting it to our advantage. I tweaked Ghastly's moveset a little bit to conserve power points and taught it Rest. This actually might help more with Lapras, because Confuse Ray confusion damage can eventually knock me out, which is a way I've lost before. So Rest felt like a good idea, and I wake up before the Jinx comes out anyway, so everything is good. Alright, here is said Jinx. It has to go for Ice Punch. Thankfully, we get the 60% chance that Hypnosis hits. Now, Lapras doesn't have enough Dragon Rages to knock out Jinx, so I'm going to go into Arcanine because, Arcanine's a cool Pokemon. No other reason, really. I go for Substitute, but Jinx wakes up. That's not very good, but what can I really do? I decide to go for Dragon Rage, and it goes for Thrash. That is excellent. So we get 40 damage on the Jinx, and we can safely swap in Ghastly while it's locked into Thrash, which will give me several turns to put it back to sleep. Alright, do we hit? We do. Very good, but of course, we need to actually knock the Jinx out. Once again, let's play it safe. Go for the Substitute. That's very good. This will give me a warning for Thrash and an ability to switch in Ghastly again. Hopefully unnecessary. It stays asleep. Dragon Rage. Alright. It's still asleep, and we are going to knock out the Jinx. Thankfully, Jinx is a 4-hit KO with Dragon Rage, and now it just all comes down to Lapras luck. Hydro Pump has a 20% chance to miss. It hits and knocks out my substitute. I go for Dragon Rage because why not? Get some damage on the Lapras. Hopefully we get a miss. We don't. Alright, time to send out Ghastly and hope the luck is in our favor. Confuse Ray has a 1 in 4 chance to miss, but it doesn't. And unfortunately, as I'm trying to go for Toxic, I hit myself in Confusion. That's not good. It's going to keep going for Confuse Ray, but I hit myself in Confusion again. Very bad. Thankfully, though, on the 3rd try, I am able to Toxic the Lapras, and now I really need to use Rest. Hopefully I snap out of Confusion. I don't, but I'm able to get off Rest. Alright, here's a good time to mention why it's a 1 in 4 chance for Confuse Ray to miss. When the AI uses status moves, there is a 1 in 4 chance that the game gives for it to miss. That's not a glitch, that's intentionally there. It's also there in Generation 2. Not in modern Pokemon. I guess there was a way to avoid status move spam, but yeah, it didn't really help us. Anyway, I think with that Rest, we should be safe because we're at full health and we can't hit ourselves in Confusion while we're sleeping. When I wake up, I'm actually going to go for a Substitute because that does absorb Confusion damage in Generation 1, but it's too little, too late for Loralee. We've knocked her out with a team of level 5 Pokemon. That is one of 5 Elite Four members down. This took a very long time, almost half an hour. A lot of luck was needed, especially at the beginning, to get past that Cloyster, but we did develop a pretty good strategy. Wouldn't say it's consistent by any means, thus I am going to save because we're doing a challenge with level 5 Pokemon, but she was one of the trainers I was most scared of. Funny enough, Bruno was another. Bruno and Agatha do not have good AI. That means we will not be able to manipulate them to the same degree we will Loralee, Lance, and the champion. Still, it is Bruno. Granted, I am battling him with level 5 Pokemon, so this could take a few attempts. I decide to lead with Tangela because no Pokemon's going to outspeed Onix, and Sleep Powder has a 75% chance to put it to sleep. Bruno goes for X Defend on turn 1, that's perfect, and we put Onix to sleep, that's very good. Now I start spamming Confusion, it wakes up pretty quick. Thankfully, Rock Throw is its most dangerous move, and it misses 40% of the time. Onix is also now confused, and it hits itself in Confusion, but I'm going to put it back to sleep and swap into a better Pokemon. Bruno goes for another X Defend. I go for Substitute, and it's time to spam Dragon Rage. Onix stays asleep and allows me to knock it out, so that's one down. Normally, Hitmonchan's elemental punches aren't too big a deal. Of course, they will still one-shot every single one of my Pokemon. Since I am behind a Substitute, I'm just going to go for Body Slam, and there's the paralysis I was hoping for. At least 1 in 4 turns, Hitmonchan shouldn't attack. That's pretty good. It does knock out my Substitute. I get that 1 in 4 luck, go for Dragon Rage, does quite a bit of damage to Hitmonchan. There is the X Defend. There is the proof that it'll only take 4 Dragon Rages to knock out Hitmonchan. Unfortunately, Arcanine has run out of Dragon Rages, but it's all good. Hitmonchan uses Ice Punch, and it knocks out Arcanine. So, time to use another Pokemon. Alright, Charmander, you're up, and unfortunately, knocked straight down with an Ice Punch. Alright, MVP of the Lorelei fight. Get an X Defend from the Hitmonchan. Alright, please. No way! We outsped! Oh my god! Yeah, that's the only way that would have happened, right? We outsped Bruno's Hitmonchan. Oh my god. Now comes out Hitmonlee, which literally cannot hit Ghastly. So, that's going to be pretty fun for me. In fact, the last Pokemon that's capable of hitting my Ghastly is Onix number 2. Thankfully, just like in the Lorelei battle, I can go behind a Substitute and get an attempt to put the Onix to sleep. Onix is also way less likely to actually hit me because it just attacks at random. And you know what? Let's just go for Toxic. Why put it to sleep at all? Let's go for broke. Let's try and beat Bruno right now. First try level 5, baby. Well, it's going for next defend. That's pretty good. Rock Throw misses. That's pretty good. And Toxic is slowly working. Another X defend. Gotta defend that Onix. Toxic doing some more damage now. Finally, Rock Throw hits. I should have been spamming Substitute just in case of that. That wasn't smart by me. And so now I'm actually vulnerable. Thankfully, unlike in Space Jam, you don't want to come on and slam right here. We are going to set up the Substitute, and it doesn't actually matter because Machamp is very unlikely to hit us anyway. The only move it could is with Fissure, and while due to our level difference, it should have 70% accuracy, so 1 in 4 chance for it to use it at all. Case in point, turn 1 it goes for Fissure, it misses, and I'm behind the Substitute anyway. No way, I'm not going to first try Bruno. Alright, I'm just going to go for Rest, restore my HP. No Fissure, no Fissure, no Fissure, I wake up. No Fissure, no Fissure, we won. We first tried Bruno at level 5. Oh my god. I can't deal with this. Wow. God, that's so bad. We first tried Bruno, who has random AI. He's not even manipulated. He's just that bad. God. All right, you know what? I don't care if we do the challenge. I could just send this video out right now. This is worth it. We beat Bruno at level 5. I can already see the views rolling in, but we're not done. There are still 3 more Elite Four members to go. The Agatha Lottery, Lance, and the Champion. As the name suggests, there's always a ton of luck when it comes to Agatha battles. I don't envision this silly challenge being any different, and I don't really have any strategies in order to beat Agatha. In Generation 1, Nightshade will hit normal Pokemon, and even if it didn't, they have Hypnosis and Dream Eater anyway. So there aren't going to be as many safe Pokemon as Bruno. On the other hand, her Pokemon have pretty bad attacks. Let's see how this goes. Initially, I lead with Tangela. The biggest reason for that, Tangela has an increased chance to put the Gengar to sleep. Confusion doesn't really do any damage, so that's not really a consideration here. Now I'm going to swap in Lapras, and I'm going to mimic Confuse Ray. Trying to get Substitute, Confuse Ray, and Dragon Rage all going would be a very good strategy. And while eventually Gengar does get a Nightshade off, I'm able to knock it out without losing a single Pokemon yet. Golbat unfortunately does go for Confuse Ray and it hits. I try to set up a substitute and I do, but I'm confused. Unbeknownst to me, however, there is a glitch when it comes to substitute where it absorbs the confusion damage, and for whatever reason, it says the damage was taken for Golbat. I have no clue what is going on at this point, and I hit myself in confusion again, and the substitute probably should break, but it's not. So something really weird's going on. Golbat uses Haze, and that's going to remove the confusion, and I have no clue. Anyway, I'm able to put it to sleep and knock it out with Dragon Rage. That's 2 down. Unfortunately, Haunter uses Hypnosis, which can go through Substitute, and it puts me to sleep. I'm able to wake up very quickly and put the Haunter to sleep, so that's pretty good. I then confuse the Haunter, both because I'm running out of Dragon Rage and because why not? And seems like it was worthwhile because after Haunter wakes up, it hits itself in confusion, and I'm able to knock it out with 1 less Dragon Rage. Now we just have the Arbok and Gengar remaining. I'm able to put Arbok to sleep, but unfortunately, I'm running out of Dragon Rages. I use Confuse Ray, use my last Dragon Rage, and now I have to switch, which sucks because I am behind a substitute. I decide to use Dratini, and unfortunately, Arbok does wake up. Thankfully, it hits itself in confusion, and I'm able to set up another substitute, this time with Dratini. Snaps out of confusion and knocks out my substitute with Acid. 1 more Dragon Rage will knock it out, but will I get an opportunity? I might. Glare misses. Good. So that is Arbok, and we just have 1 Pokemon remaining, the final Gengar. It goes for Toxic, and that's good that I use Supersonic and not Substitute, because that really wouldn't help me here. I meant to go for Dragon Rage. Unfortunately, I go for Leer after it hits itself in confusion. That's not great. I misclick again, this time Supersonic. A comedy of errors here. Thankfully, the Gengar is not attacking me, but I'm about to get knocked out due to Toxic. Well, Nightshade will finish me off, so we need 3 more Dragon Rage. Not great. Alright, Ghastly. Nope, not gonna work. Nightshade knocks it out. Arcanine. Nope, Nightshade knocks it out. Lapras to put it to sleep. Nope, Nightshade knocks it out. I don't know, Tangela. It uses Toxic and I miss Sleep Powder. Dream Eater does nothing. I do put it to sleep. Alright, need to rely on Charmander here. 1 Dragon Rage. Oh, we could be done. 2 Dragon Rages. We win. Oh no, Super Potion! We win. We win. Alright, that was actually 3rd try. I did do a couple battles just to test out some strategies beforehand, but this was my first attempt in earnest after using Elixirs and Ethers. So I'm not going to count as a first try victory, but I'm pretty happy it didn't take very long at all. In fact, Lorelie has taken longer than the next 2 trainers combined, and I have a pretty good feeling it's going to be longer than the next 3. Because now we have Lance. And Lance is who inspired this entire challenge. You see, Ghastly can only get hit by 1 of Lance's Pokemon, Gyarados. While Ghastly is still around, I automatically win. Now, if I use Lapras, Gyarados will either use Leer, Dragon Rage, or Hyper Beam. We want Leer. Will we get it? Let's find out. We get Leer. We put it to sleep. This is very good. I set up a substitute. It's asleep. 1 Dragon Rage. It wakes up. 2 Dragon Rages. We'll need 5 to knock this out. It knocks out my substitute, and unfortunately, Sing misses. We get another lucky Leer, but Sing misses again. A 3rd Leer, and Sing hits. Oh my god, are we doing this first try? I'm going to set up a substitute just in case. It's still asleep. 1. It's still asleep. We win. We won. The battle is over. All I have to do is swap in Ghastly, and I can use Toxic and Rest to stall out the rest of this battle. For the first 2 Dragonair, the reason is simple. They have agility. It's a psychic move. I'm a poison type. They will not stop using agility. Lance does have potions, but they mean nothing to me. I have more than enough power points for this. Aerodactyl could theoretically beat me if it uses Supersonic and I hit myself in confusion too much, but it's a 1 in 4 chance it uses it, and then an additional 50% chance, essentially. Basically, a 1 in 8 chance I actually get hit with Supersonic, and a 1 in 16 chance I'm stopped from attacking on any given turn. One problem, though, with what I said, if you remember the Agatha battle, it's meaningless because I'm behind a substitute. Meaning even if I were to get confused, the substitute, or Aerodactyl's non-existent substitute, would take damage. And since it doesn't exist, I take 0 damage. I'm just stalled a little bit longer, which is actually what I want. So we have made it all the way to the champion in less time than it's taken me for some of my solo runs. This is crazy. I mean, I'm still happy I saved because some of these battles are pretty luck-based, but consider we didn't even use things like items, potions, anything like that. We're doing this itemless, and we've still made it to the champion with a level 5 team. This is ridiculous. However, the champion is probably going to be a big deal. He's got a tough team. He will be using a Blastoise because I picked Charmander. And because of the type diversity and the lack of exploitable Pokemon, the run might actually end here. Hard to know, but let's try anyway. Pidgeot is kind of a lucky first Pokemon because 3 of its moves we can deal with. It goes for Sky Attack, which is the worst of the 3, but I'm able to put it to sleep. While Pidgeot is asleep, the same strategy applies, trying to set up Substitute and then Dragon Rage. The problem comes down to Alakazam. Alakazam knows Psybeam, Psychic, Reflect, which does nothing, and Recover, which is actually really bad because it's going to take several hits to knock out Alakazam. It did take me a few attempts to get by both Pidgeot and Alakazam. If Pidgeot goes for its 4th move, Wing Attack, even though ordinarily it's very bad, it's an instant reset. Once we got past Alakazam, I was luckily behind my substitute, and Rhydon doesn't have many moves that can actually hit me. Fury Attack is one of them, and I realized, wait a second, unlike the Machamp, which just had Fissure, Rhydon just has Horn Drill, meaning Ghastly cannot be damaged by Rhydon. So we have yet another Pokemon in this challenge that cannot hit Ghastly whatsoever. So that's pretty lucky. Arcanine, however, is a bit more tricky. Again, ordinarily its moves suck, but its Ember does hit 100% of the time and will one-shot every single one of my Pokemon. Thankfully though, it has both Leer and Roar, so for Pokemon other than Ghastly or Tangela, which is a grass type, there's a 50-50 chance it does not go for Ember or Takedown, and we can put it to sleep and make it to Executor. Now, Executor is where I realized I made a mistake. It too cannot hit Ghastly. And unfortunately, it can hit the rest of my Pokemon with Barrage and Stomp. Again, ordinarily not an issue, but a big issue for level 5 Pokemon. And after it knocked out all my Dragon Rage users, I knew that I had to get another attempt at that Executor, but with Ghastly surviving. It's harder than it sounded. Getting past Pidgeot wasn't super consistent. Getting past Alakazam, also pretty tricky. Well, this next attempt got off to a good start. Whirlwind, Sing, like to see that. Set up the substitute and Pidgeot is staying asleep, which is good. Get off 1 Dragon Rage, 2 Dragon Rages, 3, it's staying asleep a nice long time. It wakes up, but it's too little too late. Unfortunately, we get the full restore. That really sucks since it also removes the sleep. And of course, my substitute gets knocked out by a Sky Attack. Thankfully, it doesn't attack, and I'm able to put it back to sleep. Once again, I set up another substitute, and then continue to go for Dragon Rage, and this time, Pidgeot doesn't wake up, the rival doesn't use a Hyper Potion, and we've made it back to Alakazam. Alakazam unfortunately goes straight for Psychic, so I lose my substitute, but once again, we get a first turn Sing, at least initially, so that's really good. I set up the substitute as always. Unfortunately, this time we get a quick wake up, which is not ideal. Psychic is going to knock out my substitute, and because I don't have enough HP, I can't set up another one, but Sing hits again. Very good. Alright, Alakazam stays asleep, and you can see it's going to be a 4-hit KO. Alakazam has less than 160 HP. Alakazam stays asleep again, and that means we're going to make it past the Alakazam with Lapras. No substitute this time, but it's okay. Lapras doesn't have many Dragon Rages left anyway. And, oh, come on! That is not what we want to see at all. Oh, please use Reflect. Oh. All right, this is not going well. I really need Alakazam to be asleep, so I'm going to send out Tangela. Unfortunately, Alakazam wants nothing to do with Tangela, so that is 2 of my Pokemon down. Dratini can't actually put Alakazam to sleep, but I cannot lose my Ghastly, so it's all I got. Not going to be good enough. Alakazam goes for Psychic as I went for Supersonic, so we have 3 down. Arcanine can't really status Alakazam at all, but I don't have much else left. It goes for Recover, so at least I have an opportunity to set up a substitute, but it doesn't just go for Recover once, it starts spamming Recover, and I realize the only way I'm getting past this Alakazam is if I paralyze it with Body Slam and get the 1 in 4 chance that it's paralyzed and cannot attack. I finally get a paralysis and it's still using Recover, which does give me another opportunity to get behind Substitute. Of course I'm not outspeeding it despite the fact it's paralyzed, but it's the 1 in 4 chance I'm looking for here. Alright, well I get Reflect, that's pretty good, so 1 attack down. Unfortunately, we then get another Recover, meaning we still have 3 more Dragon Rages after this one. Make that another 3 Dragon Rages because another Recover. This is getting ridiculous. We do get the Parahacks here, so we have Alakazam at 50% HP, or just under that. Unfortunately, Recover will heal that 50%, and we're starting to run out of Dragon Rages. That's very bad. We do get another Reflect, so 2 more Dragon Rage to go. Alright, another Reflect, just 1 more. And it's fully paralyzed. Okay, Body Slam doing some work there. That is Alakazam down. And now we can take a nice deep breath, switch in our Ghastly, go behind the Substitute as we Toxic it, and just try to manifest the luck we need to put our Arcanine to sleep. Alright, here's our Arcanine. Ember, of course. We do put it to sleep. Very good. Alright, well, my Arcanine is running out of Dragon Rage, so I gotta go for Charmander here. Set up a Substitute. It's staying asleep. That's very good. Alright, we use Dragon Rage. This one's gonna be a 5-hit KO at least, so that's not great. It's still asleep, so that's Dragon Rage number 2. It's still asleep. That's Dragon Rage number 3, and I think we're knocking out this Arcanine no matter what. He woke up, but I'm still behind the Substitute. So long as it doesn't heal, we've knocked it out. And Leer. Very, very good. So we have knocked out Arcanine, and we're still behind a Substitute. Now, truth is, I could have gone for Dragon Rage, but I'm running out of power points, so I'm just going to swap straight to Ghastly. As we mentioned with Lorelie, Exeggutor is automatically going to go for Hypnosis, and unfortunately it hits. And this could take a really, really long time, because Exeggutor can theoretically just keep spamming Hypnosis forever. In Generation 1, the opponents do not have power points. Their moves can be used infinitely. It's one of the reasons that Magikarp and other such Pokemon are actually impossible. Combine that with the fact that you do not get to attack the turn you wake up, and we could be here a really, really, really long time. And it's not a big deal. We know we're going to win, and eventually we're going to set up a Substitute. But unfortunately, the Substitute will not protect me from being put to sleep by Exeggutor. Now, you might think I only need 1 turn to wake up and to use Toxic, but this isn't nearly enough. I really, really would like to be awake for the Blastoise, so I might have a chance to actually attack it with Ghastly. Of course, as you would expect, that did not end up happening. So we're going to have to deal with the Blastoise asleep. That's not good. Alright, well, turn 1, it hits with Hydro Pump, 20% chance it misses, and I'm still asleep, so that's it for Ghastly, I'm pretty sure. Blizzard has a 90% chance to hit in this generation, and so we're almost done. 2 Pokemon to go, but there is a silver lining here. Another advantage of picking Charmander is Blastoise can equally go for Withdraw or Hydro Pump. So there is less than a 50% chance I'm hit by Hydro Pump, but the odds are still very bad right now. Arcanine only has 2 Dragon Rages left anyway, and Blastoise goes for Withdraw. That's very good, so that's some damage now. Another Withdraw. Very, very good, and that is all the Dragon Rages we have left. So we're going to have to go for Body Slam, and maybe we'll paralyze the Blastoise. A third Withdraw. No paralysis. And here comes the Hydro Pump. It hits. It all comes down to Charmander. Kind of fitting, the original level 5 starter against the overpowering level 65 Blastoise. Well, heck, I'm going to go set up a substitute, and it goes for withdraw. That's really, really good. We might actually win this. Oh my god, it goes for withdraw again. I think we won. Oh my god, another withdraw. Oh my god, are we going to beat the game with level 5 Pokemon? No way. Hydro Pump hits, it doesn't matter. We did it. Oh my god, I cannot believe this is real. I honestly can't believe it. I have thought about this for over 2 years, a challenge beating the Elite Four with super low level Pokemon. I thought level 20, 30, but you know, I never thought, oh my god. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. This just happened. You can beat the game with level 5 Pokemon. Mind you, probably not one level 5 Pokemon, and we did need to use all 6, but we didn't use evasion moves or any cheap strategies. And also remember Leech Seed, a very useful move in this kind of challenge, unavailable to me. There isn't a single Pokemon that can learn Leech Seed at level 5, at least not that I'm aware of. And with that, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to experiment with some different challenges in the near future, so look out for that. But that's all for me right now. Take care.